Hello, it's Phil at digitaldjtips.com looking at the KRK Rokit 4 studio monitors. This is a new baby brother to the Rokit 5s, 6 and 8, and you will have noticed that they're in a nice white colour here as well, which we thought looked quite nice. Obviously it doesn't really matter, but we did dig out our white Pioneer DDJ SX to test them on. So in this short review, I'm going to tell you what we found out about these speakers. Hopefully by the end of it, you'll have an idea as to whether they're the right studio monitor for you. Let's take a closer look at one of them. Now these are a pair of individual monitors. That means they have their own kettle lead input and their own set of inputs and their own controls. You plug these in utterly independently of each other, as is the case with all the KRK monitors and indeed with most professional and semi-professional monitors. So let's have a look at what's going on in the back here. That of course means that you have to split the output from your DJ controller into two mono inputs, one for left and one for right. So this is the balanced input here. There's also a balanced XLR input. This is a TRS of course. There's also an unbalanced RCA input. You can plug these all in at once and have different things flowing into it, but then you're just going to have to turn them on and off individually. Now here we have the volume control, which is normal, but there's two controls which might not be immediately familiar to you, so let's talk you through what they are. They're a low frequency adjust and a high frequency adjust. Now these aren't meant to be used as EQs, they're meant to be kind of set and forget, so you get your room positioning right and you kind of work out if there's too much boom or too little bass, and you get it kind of set to where you want it. Starting at 0 is always a good point, and the same with the high frequency. The high frequencies on these are quite restrained. You might find that you want just a little bit more to compensate for your own hearing or just for the room you've got them in, or you might want to rein the high frequencies in a little bit. So these are definitely not EQs to be used to make your music kind of sound better. They're more just kind of to adapt the speaker to the room it's in. Now as I said, just to make it clear, these have got their own built-in amplifiers, so you buy this and you buy another one, they're both exactly the same and they both operate independently of each other, which is designed to give you better sound at the end of the day. Now we couldn't review a KRK speaker without at least giving you a close-up of the very iconic front, and there's nothing unusual here. This is something we've seen many times before, just kind of shrunk. So we have our tweeter here, our 4-inch bass speaker here with the very iconic yellow inset, and then down at the bottom here is the bass port. Now this is a bass reflex port. It's basically a hole to help the bass work, and it's on the front of the speaker, which is a good idea for speakers like this that are likely to be quite close to the back of a wall and so on. Some speakers have it at the back, but you need to be careful, more careful with the positioning in that case, and this is the bass reflex port for this speaker, which is on the front, so therefore they're called a front ported speaker. Now sound wise, they're not going to have the punch of bigger speakers. That said, the bass that they do have is taut and nice. They depend a lot on positioning. If you get them positioned properly here, in order to review them, I'm kind of stood over them, but really you want to be in a triangle right in front of them with the tweeter lined up with your ear, getting your workspace set out, so that's going to be true. And if you play with the positioning in a room, you're going to have them in a small room. You can get an awful lot of bass out of these. But if there is a KRK that you're going to be very tempted to pair up with one of the company's subwoofers, then it is definitely this model here. That said, nice tight bass, very easy to hear bass, as in it's not muddy, it's not kind of fluffy and woolly and undefined. Nice tight bass. The mid-range was just nice and smooth, and the top end, some might say a little bit dulled, but actually you try listening to a speaker with a harsh top end for more than half an hour or an hour, you're going to wish it was a bit more refined. It's all there. I'd say generally a nice flat frequency response, which is what you want for DJing and for getting started in production, with just a tail off at the end due to the fact that of course the bass woofers in here are not as big as on bigger speakers. Overall, we're very, very impressed with them. There was no discernible background noise or buzz coming from them, which is sometimes a problem with monitors, for some reason, especially smaller ones. And overall, a great choice if you've got a smaller room and you haven't got a need for any monitors that are any bigger, or indeed the space for any monitors that are any bigger. The new KRK Rokit 4s, we really like them, and hey, you've got to like the white colour as well, haven't you? If you've enjoyed this review, please sign up. There's a link below, and also you can subscribe to the channel. Both will get you videos, articles and offers right to your inbox and right to your YouTube front pile. So do it, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. I've been Phil Morse for Digital DJ Tips.